Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rep Path podcast. Today, guys, we're going to talk about something that we all face during the interview process, and that's why does your interview in the medical sales process keep failing? Okay, what is going wrong? You're doing everything right. Your resume is updated. You crush the interview. You're networking with reps. You feel like you're doing all the right thing. You updated your LinkedIn profile, but you get that, like bone crushing email response from either that automated email response from the company saying, we decided to move forward with another candidate. Thank you for applying. Unfortunately, we're moving in another direction. Or even worse, you just get ghosted and never hear back. So we're going to talk about that today, guys, and focus on a lot of the things that the common mistakes and some of the uncommon mistakes that you might not be realizing that you're making to help you become successful and get that next medical sales role. Before we do, as always, guys, make sure any questions this moment on, submit them into the chat. We'll address it about halfway through the show. Any of you've been searching, trying to break into this industry, guys, stop thinking things are going to change. Okay. Join the Rep Path Academy. Click the link below, reppath.com, or shoot me a DM and we can discuss getting you set up for the academy. Again, guys, this is a program that we are going to work with you until you break in. No other program is going to do that. Go on the website. You can see the companies that we've worked with. You can see the testimonials of reps to see that we've had proven success for years in this industry. Stop waiting, guys. Things aren't going to change. Again, we're going to work with you until you break in. So start today, and we'll help you get there.
And as you can see here with Joe without his vanilla ice haircut.
You can't make it so obvious that you're like waiting to throw the dig in. Like you got to play it off a little cooler, dude.
No. Going straight for the jugular, Joe.
Yes, guys, I'm going to have this hairdo for a while until the sides grow in and the lines and,
Professional Joe, vanilla ice Joe. Welcome.
Yes. But it will grow back. And I would love to see James in 10 years when he's my age and see where his hair is at.
I won't have hair unless I go to Turkey. So,
but lastly, guys, if you want to see a copy of this podcast, maybe not after what James is just, butchering the whole podcast right now. So maybe you don't want to see this podcast, but all the other podcasts that we produce and all the other content we produce, click on the link below to join my YouTube channel. It's the Rep Path Academy. You'll have access to everything that we come out with, all the content, which is a lot of valuable content. I have reps each week telling me that they broke into the industry or got that promotion because of the content on this channel, guys. So it's real stuff, no fluff out there. Make sure you join today and subscribe. It's 100% free. Okay, let's dive into today's topic. All right, guys. I've been in this, again, it's been almost 25 years. I know exactly what a lot of you are going through. You feel like you do everything right. And then you get that horrible, annoying automated email, or you get ghosted, or even if the recruiter does call you up and say, I'm sorry, they decided to go with another candidate, and you just don't know why. One of the things that's even more frustrating is that they don't give you any feedback. Now, I know it's annoying, guys, but to be honest with you, I see both sides. So don't be insulted. Who gives a shit? I know a lot of us want the constructive feedback. Does it really matter? They didn't go with you. It's time to move on. A lot of them don't give feedback because HR instructs them not to give any feedback because it could potentially open up, different legalities for the company if they give too much insight. And again, this is a world where, a lot of people are looking to sue people for stupid things. So don't be shocked if you don't get that feedback. It happens a lot. It's not that they don't care. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just are busy and they move on to other candidates. But a lot of times they're handcuffed by their own legal and HR teams where they can't give a lot of feedback because it can end up biting them in the butt. So the whole point is, how do we fix this? All right. What are some of the things that are going on that are causing people to not succeed in this process? And one of the first things is, guys, you're not answering. And when I say you, I'm just talking about, everyone out there that is struggling. A lot of times you guys aren't showing your passion of why you either want to get in this industry or why you want to work for XYZ company. Okay. So you have to be able to illustrate that story, that passion of why you why you want to get into medical sales and show something transferable in your background. I mean, guys, it could be as simple as going back to your lemonade stand that when you were 7 years old. Ever since I had a lemonade stand when I was 7, I always loved to sell. When I played football in high school, or ever since I played little league, I was always a competitor. I always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be number one. Like whatever it is to show your skills that are transferable to make you a successful medical sales rep, illustrate that in the interview process. Go back to what is your passion? Why do you want to get into this industry? And then you got to back it up with results from your past. That's the key thing, guys. A lot of people mistake that. They give they get in the adjective, you know, field of nonsense where they just say, I am a hard worker. I'm energetic. I'm a problem solver. And they don't give any background to any proof of that. So you always have to come back to what did you do in your past that proves whatever you're saying. Don't ever say you're a hard worker. I don't care if you tell me. I want you to show me. So either illustrate that with proof in your past, illustrate that with your resume, illustrate that with some sort of story. But the whole point is, guys, when they are asking you why medical sales, why this company, you got to show that passion and tie your background. Usually, bringing over those transferable skills, whether it's competition, whatever it is. It could be, a clinical role that you had. It could be a sales role. Teachers. I mean, a lot of teachers out there, they're great presenters. So it could be presentation skills. I don't care. Whole point being, illustrate those transferable skills, tie it into your previous role, and then why that will translate in this current role to make you the best candidate. A lot of you struggle doing that. Okay. Don't get caught up. It's one of the biggest mistakes that reps make. They talk in the adjective world. Don't just give empty adjectives, guys. It doesn't work. They hear this shit all day long. That doesn't help you stand out. What helps you stand out is backing it up with proof. Okay. So next, guys, knowing the company. All right. Now, a lot of you do the same thing. I did this too. You go online, you check out the website, you start to memorize all the products they sell, and you want to be that product expert. Guys, that's the mistake. Don't focus too much on memorizing. If a company has 20 products, memorize every spec about each product. They don't care about that. They're going to teach you that in training. They don't expect you to be a product expert by reviewing a website for an hour or two. What they care about is that you understand the role. You understand what the customers, the challenges that they're having in that role. Why are doctors using that product? Why aren't they? Who are the competition? Why do they use the competition? What will be your game plan to overcome some of these challenges? You got to think that way, not that I memorized the diameter of the sheath that they sell. That's not that important, guys. It's about what would you do with this product? What will be your approach? What will be your strategy to make an impact? That's what they want to hear. And the only way to find that out, guys, is talking to other sales reps. So at the academy, we make it mandatory. You can't just apply to a job and think something's going to happen. So a lot of you do that out there. You do spray and pray. If you guys don't know what that means spraying your resume out to each and every open opportunity known to man, and then pray that someone calls you back. That shit doesn't work, guys. This doesn't work anymore. There's too much competition. When we, with RepPath, we also have a recruiting division. Every time we post a job, we get anywhere from 300 to 500 resumes in a couple of days. Okay, it's insane. And everyone's doing the same thing. They're just sending the resume, whether they're a fit or not. That doesn't work anymore, guys. You need to be focused on less opportunities. Less is more. So I'd rather see you focus on 5 to 10 opportunities, but I want you on the phone, speaking to reps, learning as much about the insides of that role, learning Who are the doctors or hospitals that you're targeting? Who are the hospitals and doctors that are using your product? What are the challenges? Why do they use the competition? Is there GPO challenges? Is there any reimbursement challenges? All these things, and then start developing a business plan. So you hear a lot of reps talk about 30, 60, 90s. 30, 60, 90s are complete bullshit unless they're specific for that role. Now that's important. There's a big differentiator. You'll hear me say, I don't care about 30, 60, 90s. I don't care about generic 30, 60, 90s. Specific ones for a certain role, that's what I care about. Don't talk about just training. I'm going to train the first 30 days or give a generic the same 30, 60, 90 business plan for every job you apply for. How do you know? If you don't speak to reps, if you don't learn the process, you might be in training for a week or 3 months, depending on the role. So your 30, 60, 90 could just be all training related if you have the right if you have those conversations with other sales reps and really learn the process. Learn who's leading training. Learn, are you going to be in the field? Are you going to be doing ride-alongs? Are you going to be, covering cases? What does that look like? Is it in-house training? Are you training, doing home study? There's many different ways to break this down, guys. You need to understand that so you can develop a real plan. But the bottom line is get the information that you can't get on ChatGPT or Google. And that only comes from other individuals that work at the company. So reach out to those reps. Okay. If you guys struggle with this, because I know a lot of you do, this is what we teach at the academy. Reach out to me. We could discuss and get you signed up, because this is one of the biggest mistakes that everyone makes. They reach out and say, hey, tell me about the job. I would like to work there. How can you help me? And how did you break in? They ask all me questions. It's all about you, all about help me. These people don't know you. Why? What do they care? So guys, you might speak to a lot of nice sales reps that are friendly on the phone, but are they really moving the ball forward for you? And my answer to a lot of you is no, because I know, because you guys are training a lot of you and I see a lot of the challenges that people are having out there. And it's that you're not bringing enough value of why you should be the person for this role. So you need to uncover what the challenges are and then position yourself as that solution. Okay. Again, this is kind of hand in hand, this next topic, with you give too many generic answers, guys. This goes back to the adjective world. I'm a great communicator. I'm competitive. I'm a people person. Guys, please do not say that anymore. I've heard that a million times. I'm a people person. No shit. You know who else is? Every single sales rep on this planet. Everyone in sales is a people person. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't separate you from anyone. Just means you like sales. That's great. I care about, okay, great people person. How did you do? Show me your results. I want to hear stories about how you overcame challenges in your career, how you overcame working with a difficult customer. You're going to hear a lot of star format questions, guys. If some of you don't know what that means, it's situation, task, action, result. They want to see you answer in that way, where you give a specific example. And it doesn't always have to be sales related, guys. There's a lot of times working with customers, overcoming challenges, overcoming a difficult problem, being a problem solver, presenting, that they want to hear more specifics. Stop with the generic adjectives. It doesn't work, guys. They want to hear more in facts. Okay. So bottom line, they want to hear about a difficult customer that you won, a difficult goal you achieved, a time you exceeded expectations. These are just a couple of examples, but get more specific. Don't just say one time I had this one customer. No, give the specifics. I worked with this Dr. Jones. He was a cardiologist out of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. Be specific. Tell the story with your answers, guys. The more that you can help them visualize and be a storyteller, that's what they're looking for. because the whole time throughout this whole interview process, guys, it's a sales call. That's all it is. So they know if you can't answer a question and you can't tell a story, how could you sell? When you're in medical sales, that's what you're doing. When you're talking to doctors, you're going to give stories about, hey, Dr. Jones, I just worked with Dr. Smith last week, and we had this one patient that was a great case, very difficult case, where we used our product. They had a BMI of 35. Their blood pressure was 180 over 70. And you give all the comorbidities that this patient has. They have high blood pressure. They're a diabetic, whatever. You paint a picture and then talk about the case. We're able in 35 minutes to get access into, and go transeptal to ablate in the left atrium on the right sided veins, and we got full block within 35 minutes, successful case, blah, blah, blah. This is the kind of storytelling that they like. That's how you sell, because you're telling a story. I'm not talking about saying once upon a time, it's not that shit. It's telling a story about a specific case, an example. That's why they ask a lot of star questions in the interview, and a lot of you don't answer it correctly. You ramble on. Get to the point and tell the story and answer their questions specifically. Don't give the generic answers. Okay. Next, guys, numbers. Okay. So this is more specific. Again, this isn't for everyone's background. You don't have to have numbers, but if you have sales experience and you don't have numbers on your resume, that is a gigantic red flag. And I'm telling all you guys now out there, some of you that work for smaller companies, I don't want to hear, Joe, but my company didn't track that. Okay, guys, as of today, start tracking your own sales. Start putting spreadsheets together that track your sales. If you made one sale this month and 2 sales next month, you grew 100%. You made 4 the next, again, you grew another 100%. Whatever that is, start tracking it and getting it on your resume, because they care about 4 key metrics that they want to see. You don't have to have all 4 for every job, but if you don't have one and you're in a sales role and you don't have rankings, percent to quota, sales growth, or awards, fourth one, awards, that they're going to think either, number one, you didn't have success in that role, so that's why you didn't put it on your resume, or you weren't in a real sales role. It's one or the other, guys. But don't ever make the excuse, my company didn't track that. All the more, if you want to be in this industry, you're a real competitor. You really are all the things you say you are, because that's what they want. Believe me, guys, if you don't like to compete, do not do medical sales. Your name's going to be on a leaderboard. They're going to show, my companies that I worked with, they're going to show everyone. And if you're at the bottom, everyone sees you're at the bottom. You don't want to be at the bottom, guys. So you want to compete. If you're a competitor, you should care about your numbers. You should be obsessed about your performance. You should track everything. I have my own business now for years. I track everything. I set goals. I have my own quota that I have to hit. If I don't hit it, I figure out what the hell's going on. But I know every detail about my business because it's my business. You got to treat your territory the same way. And if you're showing that, that shows you really do own your territory and you own it as your own business. If you don't know, if they ever ask you, what were you ranked last year? I don't know. I think I was like 25, 26. Wrong answer. You better know exactly. I was 25 at 144 reps. I grew 137%. I generated $2.2 million in revenue. You have to have your answers like that when you're speaking to them to really have it down pat, because that shows true territory ownership. So guys, numbers, numbers, numbers. If you have sales experience, this is all for the people with sales experience, this part. Make sure you get it on your resume, and then also you're illustrating that in the interview itself. Again, you guys struggle with this, reach out. This is what we do at the Academy. We do resume optimization, and we make sure that this resume is going to be more appealing to the hiring managers. Anyone with sales experience, I get these resumes all the time, and there's no numbers. Guys, they put that in the job requirements. They'll say, They need proven sales success. If you don't have numbers on your resume, how can I show that you, what does that prove? Anything. So make sure you get that in there, guys. I can't stress that enough. Um, Next, guys, I know we talked about storytelling, but another thing is, talking too much, guys. You don't want to ramble on. Don't give too long of a story in an interview answering a question. Guys, it's a red flag because they're constantly, again, this interview is a sales call. They're evaluating you on how you sell. If you're rambling on in an interview and you can't answer a question succinctly and effectively, how the hell can you talk to doctors? That's what they're thinking. They're thinking, man, oh my God, this guy rambled on for 15 minutes to answer my question. What the hell is he going to do with my doctors when he gets in front of his customers? He's going to ramble on. The doctor's going to walk away from him. So you want to get to the point, guys. Actually answer the question, because that's another problem. A lot of you guys don't answer the question that was asked. And I've been there before. You get nervous. You start rambling on. Before you know it, you're like, what the hell am I even talking about? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Guys, it's a nervous reaction a lot of us go through, but you got to make sure that you fix that. You can't ramble on. Get to the point. All right. You shouldn't have 3 5-minute answers. Trust me, they're not looking for that. They don't want you to tell them a story. That's a long time to answer a question. You should answer most of these questions in 30 seconds to a minute. Even going through your whole resume in an interview, when they say, walk me through your resume, that should only take 3 to 5 minutes, really 3 to 4 minutes. So do that as one test, all you out there. Get in front of a mirror, get your phone out, whatever you want to do. Walk through your resume like you're talking to someone, record yourself, see how long it takes. And if it's shorter, that's fine. But you shouldn't be taking 5, 7, 8 minutes. I mean, I've had candidates that I've worked with that were talking for 12, 15 minutes, walking me through their resume. I mean, I was literally falling asleep on the table because I was like, I don't even know what the hell they're saying anymore. You got to get to the point. So you want to get in that 3 to 4 minute range when you're doing that. But make sure you go home tonight and everyone test themselves and then get back to me and let me know how you did. Because I'm telling you, you're going to be surprised. It's not something that a lot of people practice. So make sure you start doing that, because that's one of the things every interview, they're going to want you to walk you through their background. And the ones that can do that effectively, especially this happens a lot more with reps with tons of experience in the industry. They think because they have 20 years and they worked for multiple companies and multiple specialties that they're going to be a shoo-in for all these new positions. It's not the case, guys. There's a lot of good talent out there. And if you guys can't sum up your 20 years of experience in a couple of minutes, then that's not a good sign. They don't want some old veteran that is like an old storyteller, telling wise tales around the campfire. They don't give a shit about that. They want someone that can effectively get their messaging across. Now, we kind of touched on this. Here's another, key thing where reps, screw up, and that's not actually answering the question. So it could be, tell me about a time you failed, and then a rep is talking about 5 minutes, explaining why it wasn't really their fault. So bottom line, get to the point. Answer the actual question that they're asking. This is something that comes up more than you realize, guys. When you get nervous, people ramble on, and then they look and it's like, wow, they're not even answering the question. That's not what I asked. It happens a lot, guys. Especially, tell me about a time where you had to overcome this challenge. And then before you know it, you're just telling me a successful sales story. And it's like, well, that's not what I asked. And a lot of times hiring managers, they're not going to tell you. They're going to just go, okay, thank you. And then after the interview, they're going to get back to the recruiter and say, no, pass. I got to be honest, this guy didn't really answer the questions that I was asking. They're not there to coach you, guys. You didn't get the job yet. All right. They're paid to coach sales reps that work for the company. You don't work for them yet. So for a lot of you that are mad that you didn't get the feedback, they should really help you out. Guys, why? Why should they help you out? You don't work there. So answer the questions correctly, get the job, and then they'll start coaching you after you get the job. But they're not going to tell you if you're not answering questions correctly. They won't. So make sure that you're doing that. Be relaxed, try to relax. I know your nerves are acting up, but listen. That's the bottom line, guys. Listen, my biggest problem in a lot of interviews, I always was thinking in my head the next thing I'm going to say. And that's not a good thing to do, guys, because this is another thing that we prep you with at the academy. We're going to make you so prepared that you're not going to be thinking about all the different things that you need to say and make sure you check off this box and that box. At the end of the day, it's going to be repetition for you that you're going to be so prepared that you don't have to think about it. And what that does, it allows you to listen more and pay attention to what they're asking. Be fully engaged. Guys, again, it's all an interview, a sample sales call. If you're not answering questions, that you're not answering the questions that they're asking, that means they read into it, you're not really listening. And if you're not listening now in the interview, you're not going to listen to doctors when they bring up challenges, because doctors don't always say, the challenge I'm having is blah, blah, blah. Okay. They'll talk about different things in their practice, and you're going to have to read into it, read between the lines and be like, oh, wow, I actually can tell that workflow is an issue. That's something that now you want to focus on. So I wouldn't know that unless I'm listening intently to what they're saying. So make sure you're actually listening to the questions, guys. I can't stress that enough. This next one, uh, not a lot of you do it, but there's still a bunch of you that do this, and that's blaming your ex-company, blaming your manager, your previous manager, bashing them. Guys, don't do that. It's a huge red flag. If they see that you're doing that to them, then you're going to do the same thing to your to them, to your the current hiring manager and the current company you're interviewing with. They don't want that. They don't want someone that's bitching and it just talks about all the bad things that happened and why they didn't do well in that role. Guys, that's just a lot of excuses that they don't want. They want problem solvers. Okay. So always focus on the positivity of your future. Don't always talk about the negativity of your past when you're going in a new role. Talk about the optimism of what great things this new company can bring, not the negatives of what your previous company brought you. It's very important, guys. Negativity is never going to get you hired. Never. They're never going to go, oh, really? Your boss did that? Oh, what an ass. Oh, yeah, you should be with us. We're sorry to hear that. They're just going to go, that's terrible. You're making excuses. So you're going to, when times are tough here, you don't hit your number, you have difficult access with physicians or any other challenges you have, you're going to look to blame someone else. And we don't want that on our team. They're okay with hearing about challenges you have, but what they want to hear is, what did you do to overcome that? What are some of the procedures, the strategies that you used to overcome those challenges? That's what they care about. Okay. Don't try to, here, this one is more important. I'm going to skip one. You don't actually understand the job. And you'd say, Joe, that's so stupid. Of course I know the job that I'm applying for. Yes and no, guys. A lot of you, for instance, on the medical device side, there's a lot of clinical specialist roles out there that people are trying to get to break into the industry, and they don't know for sure what the role really entails. And an example of this is, you need to know, in a clinical specialist role, depending on the company, it could be a purely clinical specialist role that all you do is cover cases. That's it. Okay. Then it could be a role where you're a clinical specialist / associate, where all you do is just bring trays from one hospital to another, and you really have no clinical interaction in the procedures. And then there's clinical specialist roles where you wear many hats and you're working with that territory manager to help him hit his number. You're doing sales calls. You're doing outreach. You're doing presentations on top of your sales, your clinical case coverage. And they need to know, you need to know exactly what it entails. Because a lot of times people go in there and be like, I love to sell. And they're going for a clinical specialist role that has nothing to do with selling. You're covering cases all day long. So they'll know right away, you didn't do your homework. So they care more about that you have a full understanding of what the day consists of. If you're going for a role and think you're going to make your kids practices every day at 5 o'clock, and realize you're in the operating room, that you could be in the OR till 7, 8, 9 at night, you got to really have an understanding of what the day really entails. So again, it goes back to speaking to those sales reps and making sure you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The more that you understand that, it's better for you because this is your career. Guys, this could be the next 30, 40 years of your life. You need to know what you're talking about. You need to know what you're doing. Okay. As opposed to, jumping into this like it's some part-time job. So do your research, find out that information because it's going to make you more effective in the interview. And also, more importantly, you could say, you know what, this isn't for me. I actually don't like the way this sounds, and not take the job. And that's okay. So you don't want to, you need to know what you're getting yourself into, guys. This could be the next 30 years of your life. So find out as much as you can to really know the role. Let's see here. Next guy's asking questions. Okay. So whenever you're getting into going for an interview, because a lot of times you guys don't ask good questions. You ask very generic ones, or even worse, you ask questions about PTO and comp plan and all these things that, you shouldn't be asking, especially on a first interview. You're going to be selling yourself. You got to be really proving to them why you're the fit, how you can, help them solve some of the challenges they have and why you're the best candidate. You don't want to be talking about, well, is it 2 or 3 weeks vacation time that I get? Guys, always go into every interview with obviously multiple copies of your resume. You should have a business plan, some sort of 30, 60, 90 that's, again, specific to the territory. Okay. And we will help you with that at the academy. And then also proof of numbers. All this goes into what's called a brag book. All right. So a lot of you don't even know what that is. A brag book is proof of anything on your resume, any number, any ranking, any growth. You also want the backup proof from your company if you can. A lot of people don't keep brag books anymore. To be honest with you, a lot of hiring managers, they don't always ask for that. But if you do have it, it's going to make you stand out that much more. So I am a big fan of having a brag book and being able to present that during the interview. You need this if you want to be more effective. But lastly, come in with a pen and paper, notebook with questions written out. Have 10 to 15 questions that you really want answered, not generic, not things you don't really care about just because you feel like asking a question. Ask insightful questions. Ask the hiring manager, is it okay if I take notes? They'll be full. The guys are always going to say yes. But the more questions that you come in prepared with, good questions, that's what they want to hear. Because what the most important thing that you're going to do once you get the job is to probe effectively with your doctors. Because a lot of sales reps, they're not good at this. They think it's just all about presenting features and benefits. Guys, that's the last thing that you want to do when you're speaking to a doctor, especially on those first calls. You need to uncover whatever challenges they're having, find out what their key drivers are, and then provide solutions. That's how you add real value. But by doing that, you need to ask good questions. So they want to see good questions during the interview process because, again, it's going to show the type of sales rep that you are. And then we'll do one more, and then we'll jump into some questions with you, with the crowd, James.
All right.
You don't understand the territory. Okay. And that's key, guys. And again, this is for your own good too. You need to know who the key doctors are. Who are they focusing on? Who are they having trouble, challenges you're trying to get in front of? Who are some of their biggest users? Some of the hospitals. What GPOs is your product covered by? So if you have a product that's on Premier and your whole territory is HPG and you guys aren't on HPG, that means doctors can't use you. What if the reimbursements are poor? You need to know all this, guys. Have a real lay of the land. Know who your customers are. Know why they currently use you. Know why they don't use you. Know everything you can about that territory. Is it a new territory? Has anyone called on these doctors before? Was it left to you by a 3-time President's Club winner, or is it left to you by, by someone that totally, was a dumpster fire and destroyed the territory? You need to know all this. And both don't always mean that because someone previously was terrible, that means that it's a bad position to be in. And why the previous person was a 3-time President's Club winner doesn't always mean that it's a great place to be in, because it could be it could have 95% market share, and then you're going to get paid on growth. That's not easy, guys. That's not an optimal place to be in. But you could also have someone that didn't do well in the territory and there's nowhere to go but up, where then you could take over and then just show tremendous growth. So you need to find out and really know about that territory. Have a good understanding. How do you find that out? Again, speak to more sales reps and sales professionals, or anyone that works at that company, to get more insight. I can't stress that enough. And guys, last thing I'll say with that, a lot of you give excuses. Well, I reached out to a few reps and no one got back to me. Yeah, no shit, guys. You know what else is not going to get back to you? Doctors. You're going to reach out to doctors. They're not going to get back to you the first time. And you're going to have to reach out to them again and again and again. It takes persistence. Sometimes these guys are just busy. Sometimes they don't check their LinkedIn. So when you sent them an inbox, they didn't see it. But then sometimes they could be testing you to see how many times you're going to reach out, see how much you're really committed. Because believe me, your competition is doing this. You have to all realize how competitive it is out there. It is insane. So what else could you be doing? Always think that. What else could I be doing to really stand out in this process? And that's going to make you a better candidate, because it's going to force you to do more. All right, James, I'll shut up, get a glass of water, and any questions from the crowd?
Can we get a b-boy dance while we're waiting?
I'm actually going to diet. I'm going to do what was it? The tips.
Yeah, you get a frosted tips.
Frost tips.
Frosted tips.
I'm going to get that for next Monday's call. I promise.
A little Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch over here.
Yes.
We got Sarah KB. What's the difference in what pharma looks for versus device in an interview?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of similarities that they're looking for, but device and pharma are two completely different roles, guys. So what they care about is that you understand the role, because as a pharma rep, you're not covering cases. You're essentially only could call on offices from 9 to 5. Whether you're in hospitals or doctors' offices, cases can go very late. They're very unpredictable. You're working side by side with medical staff, the physician in the hospitals. There's different challenges. And so, excuse me, when you make a sale in device, you made the sale because you got the procedure. The case went off. You get a purchase order for the product that was used. Excuse me. So that's easier to track. In pharma, you can have a doctor that tells you, oh, Joe, I'm definitely going to use this product. Oh, Joe, by the way, I used it 3 times last week. And you're like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. And they're yesing you to death. Oh, you got the best product. You don't see the numbers for at least a month. So there could be a big lag time. So they're yesing you to death. And then the numbers come out and there's nothing there. So again, closing, getting actual business is very different. So what they're looking for, again, is that you really understand that these are 2 totally different roles. Okay. They typically want, on the device side, they want true hunters. They want people that are really going out there, and because a lot of the device roles, they're going to pay less in a base salary and pay higher commissions, because you're going to get rewarded more on what you sell. A lot of pharma roles, they pay higher base salaries, and then they pay less overall compensation in quarterly bonuses. And some pay commissions too, it depends. But typically, it's a higher base and less overall, and device is a lower base, but much more upside. So they want real hunters that are going out there and making things happen.
We got Stephen Pope. He's got a couple actually. I have an interview with Galdemar tomorrow. Immunology sales. How do I answer the salary question?
I don't even know what that means. What's the salary question? I know you're unless he has a follow up to that.
No,
Uh,
the next one is how do I prove that I win President's Club? I have a trophy.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Take a picture of it, have it on your phone. You could put down you're a 5-time President's Club winner, Stephen. At the end of the day, for me, someone could put down their 5-time President's Club. That's great. What I care about more, how did you do it? So be prepared more than proving it with a picture. If you really want to, well, first let's talk about proving it. Do you have anything from the company, any email that says congratulations for winning the President's Club? If you have a picture of the trophy, put the picture in there. I mean, at the end of the day, most hiring managers, they don't give a shit. If you can't answer the question, tell me how you did it. Show me how what the process, what made you successful at that company to achieve multiple President's Clubs. If you can't answer that question, then that's the red flag. But as long as you could talk about your strategy and your process, that's what they care about, because they don't care about you bringing your trophies over. They care about you bringing your strategy over. So if you were successful doing XYZ, okay, great. Now you need to illustrate how that's going to translate into this role that you're taking. And if that can make you successful there and it can make you successful here, now I'm all ears. That's what I want to care. That's what I care about. So that's the best way to approach that. In terms of the salary question, again, I don't, if you could provide more insight there, there's just not enough information over that message for me to answer how to answer the salary question. Is there any more that he has?
When they ask what my salary expectations are.
Well, first off, you should know going into this what the salary is for this role. I mean, most openings, it's going to say the base salary and then the estimated, OTA. It should give that. And if that doesn't meet your expectations and you're looking for something that's like double, if you're looking for 400,000 and it's a, overall comp of 200,000, I don't know why you're, in that role. Um, but I mean, bottom line, be honest. What are you looking for? And if it's not a match, it's not a match. Then you shouldn't be looking for that job. But I just think be very straight up. If that's within your ballpark and you're happy with that and there's room to grow above that, then just say, great, that's what you're looking for. But just be honest, because it's not about, again, they care about making a right fit, guys. They don't just want to fill you in an open role because they have an opening. Believe me, they got a lot of people that they can fill these roles with. They want to make sure it's the right fit for you. So just be honest. That's the best thing you can do, is being honest.
We got Greg Pittman. Is it a bad sign if the hiring manager doesn't ask you any hard questions at all?
Not necessarily. I think if they're not asking you any questions, I don't think it matters if it's a hard question. But if they're not asking any questions during the interview, odds are it's not going well. That means that they kind of just, something isn't clicking, something you may have turned them off with. Usually, when they're interested in a sales rep, or excuse me, in a candidate for a sales role, they they want to know more. They're going to dig deeper. Okay, so when they start asking more questions, and then also they start talking about the future, they start talking about the role, they and start talking about future things coming up and envisioning you in the role. Obviously, that's a good sign. But if they're not asking questions, typically something is missed. Something's not jiving between the two of you, and they're not that interested.
Maxwell Broadbent. Uh, if your goal was to become exceptional at medical device sales long term, not just break in as fast as possible, what would you optimize for in your first job? out of college?
So I'm sorry, say that again.
Maxwell said, if your goal was to become exceptional at medical device sales long term, not just break in as fast as possible, what would you optimize for in your first job out of college?
B2B sales, outside B2B sales. So what's the difference between inside and outside sales? Okay. Inside means you're on the phone calling customers, sitting at a desk. Outside means going out into a business that doesn't want you there, knocking on that door, trying to get past the gatekeeper. If you're calling on someone, selling a product for restaurants, getting past the hostess or the one of the waiters or managers to get to the business owner. I mean, my brother-in-law owns a bakery. He has sales reps coming in there every day trying to get him to buy whatever equipment, a cooking material, whatever the heck it is.
Credit card processors.
Yeah, credit card processing. Yeah, exactly. A ton of them. But someone's always trying to sell something and they're trying to get in front of him. And he has his gatekeepers to not, because he doesn't want to talk to everyone. But that's what takes skill, is that's what they're looking for. That is typically the best. If you want long-term and you're not looking to jump right in tomorrow, right out of college, get outside B2B sales experience, because it also is going to tell you, are you good at sales? Do you like sales? So a lot of the companies that the device and pharma companies love, they love ADP, they love Paychex, Cintas, UniFirst, Enterprise, Sherwin-Williams, Xerox. These are all companies when you're in the field dealing with customers. Number one, all these companies have outstanding sales training. So they don't care that you're trained and all the medical terminology and all the clinical stuff. They're going to teach you that. What they care about is that a company has taught you the sales process, taught you how to sell, then they're going to teach you about the product. So that's what they're looking for. So a lot of those companies are outstanding stepping stones to break into this industry.
Shelby Bork or Borke, I'm not 100% sure. What's the right amount of energy? Like, can you be too enthusiastic?
I mean, again, this is one. I mean, it's a great question, Shelby. You definitely want to bring energy. You want to smile. You want to be enthused about the role. All right. And you're going to also prove that by the information that you've learned, by the work that you put in before you got before you have the interview. I mean, that shows enthusiasm. I know if I'm excited about something, I want to talk to people about it. I want to learn more. I mean, that is part of the enthusiasm. It's not about coming in with pom-poms and being a cheerleader. I mean, they don't want someone that's annoying. They care more that you show that personality, that that you're smiling. I mean, you gotta bring, a good positive attitude. But also don't forget that you're showing enthusiasm by the work that you put in for that interview. Because that says more than putting that big smile on your face and saying, I really want to be there. Oh, you really want to be here? How come you didn't speak to any reps before this interview? That's very important. So don't just mistake it by putting a smile and, talking with energy. There's a little bit more to it. But again, you don't want to be an annoying cheerleader jumping up and down in their face. I mean, you got to have a little bit of common sense. But again, put the effort in. If you really want something, you're going to try to get it and put that effort in. That shows enthusiasm.
So you don't want to be like the redhead from Wedding Crashers. I'm watching you.
Yes.
Too enthusiastic?
No.
Too
Definitely not.
much.
Because I'll find you.
Yeah, I'll find you.
I'll find you. Yeah, no, not her.
Tucker McGrath, should I be worried they'll call my current boss?
No. Yeah, I mean, they're going to ask some companies, which, guys, just a side note, when they ask for references, provide the references. They're not going to say we need someone from your current company. That's just, they know that's off limits. They're not going to look to, get you fired while you're going through the interview process, and you have no obligation to give that. I think references are the stupidest request. I don't know why companies still do this. Who the hell is going to send a reference of someone that doesn't like them? I think it's dumb. I think it's fair game if they know someone at your company. Um, they may know a hiring manager. They may know someone at your previous company that they worked with and they might want to reach out to. But I wouldn't be concerned that they're going to call your company to look to get you fired. And that just doesn't happen, guys. So, of course, I'm sure there's a horror story out there with that happening, one or two. But really, you're going to put references down that they're going to reach out to that before that previous role or before your current role, because they're not gonna expect you to cost yourself a job just to get a reference.
We got Page N Row. Um, how do you get an interview if you keep getting auto rejected by the system?
Well, again, what are you doing is what I'm asking, Paige. A lot of times reps are just sending out resumes. You're going to get rejected. Every one of us, doesn't matter. I don't care if you're the greatest rep in the world. We all get rejected. We all get the automated response. What I care about more, it's not about the rejections. Great. I don't care if you get 100 rejections. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make you a worse candidate. I want you to fix whatever you're doing. You don't keep doing the same thing. Don't just keep applying without reaching out to reps. Reach out to reps. Contact more people. Learn more about the role. Build relationships. That's how you network. The more reps you reach out to and start trying to prove yourself on how you provide these solutions, they're going to go back to that hiring manager and say, Page got up to me. This Page spoke to me. This Page called me. This Page reached out to me multiple times. The hiring manager goes, holy shit, who is this Page? I got to interview her. And so that's part of it. So don't worry about the rejections. Just worry about fixing the whatever challenges that whatever's not working, fix it. And again, that's what we do at the Academy. You join the Rep Path Academy, we're going to help you. We're going to make sure that you don't keep doing the same thing over and over. Keep getting rejected, but keep doing the same thing and then go, one of these days, things are going to change and I'm going to get a job. Guys, no. If you don't have the right strategy and the right approach, things can never change. I don't want to be doom and gloom. It's the truth. So what happens a lot, reps do that. And then after several months, they give up. And then they wind up, picking another job that wasn't their passion. And I find out that they're doing something else. There's nothing wrong with it, but they're in insurance sales or car sales or B2B sales the next year. And what happened? It was too hard. I just gave up. No, well, guys, it's hard for everyone. It's not easy for anyone. You got to keep doing more and figuring out what the problem is. And we'll help you at the Academy do that.
I got Michaela O'Connor. Is it weird to ask a rep who interviewed me for feedback after a no?
No, I mean that's not weird at all. You could definitely ask for the feedback, and it's great. Sometimes they can give you good feedback, and again, if the whole point is acting on whatever feedback they gave you, but don't be surprised if they don't. But definitely ask if there's any feedback, anything you could do to improve yourself. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with asking for that.
I got at J Tomlinson 2. If you get nervous and it shows, do interviewers hold that against you?
I mean, they know you're nervous. Everyone's a little nervous. It's how nervous you are. If you're so nervous that you're answering questions that incorrectly, you're not paying attention. You're so nervous that you're kind of like shaking or you're looking up, looking down. You're not looking at them because you can't look at their eyes. Guys, then these are bad signs. It's okay to be a little nervous, but if it's overcoming and changing your whole approach, then that's not good, because then that is a sign that what the heck are you going to do when you're in a case with a doctor? What are you going to do when you get in front of a doctor, and you're so nervous that you can't even get words out? So that could be viewed as a negative. They understand there's going to be some nerves, but you can't let it overcome and just totally derail your whole interview.
Andres Q7. Do they care? Do they care that my last two jobs were only a year each?
It depends. Okay, so that typically isn't a good sign, to be honest with you. You don't want to be known as a job hopper. Okay. Now, I am personally, I think it's unfair because this industry, guys, again, I always keep it real. It's very volatile. A lot of reps, I see thousands and thousands of resumes every week. And a lot of resumes have reps that only last 6 months, 18 months, a year, 9 months, in a lot of roles that were outside of their control. They're laid off, the company folded, or they promised them something that, was a bunch of bullshit and didn't follow through on. So, or reps just found a better opportunity somewhere else. But if you have one job where you were there a year and then you went somewhere else because of a better opportunity, that's typically not going to be a red flag. Now you have two jobs year to year. Again, not the end of the world. That happens. But the more that you have those short stays of less than 2 or 3 years at companies, they're going to start asking what the heck's really going on. And they might not believe your story, even if it's true. That's just, a fact. Because just so you know, when they send me a job posting from one of my, clients and say, hey, Joe, I need a rep in the Chicago area with 3 years of cardiology experience, and they'll put in there no job hoppers. So there could be reps that have 7 years of cardiology experience, but in those 7 years they've had 6 jobs. They won't move forward that rep. They'll say that's a job hopper. Don't send them here because they're afraid that you're going to do the same at this company and not last long and look to go to the next company because they're offering you, extra $5,000, $10,000. That's why a lot of reps they'll leave for more money or a better opportunity, and that's a turnoff for them. So one or two roles, not a huge problem, but the more that you're jumping around, that could be a problem later on. And once you get that label as a job hopper, it's much tougher to find roles.
I want to add to that question. Is it viewed differently for someone trying to break in? Like, say they had a year at a retail job, then another year at a B2B sales, and then they're trying to break into medical sales. That's viewed differently by hiring managers,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yeah, it's a great point. It is viewed differently because they understand that your end goal was to break into this industry. They get that. They know that you're like, this wasn't your goal to sell payroll. That you were just doing it to get the experience to learn how to sell to get into to get into medical sales. It's once you're in the industry and then you keep hopping around, then they're going to be like, I don't want to touch this rep. They're not going to last here. Because guys, it is a nightmare for these companies. If you go there and then you only last 6 months, a year, and then hop somewhere else, it costs them a lot of money. They got to spend a lot of time retraining new reps. And then also it pisses off their physician customers because if they keep sending new reps into doctors' offices, the doctors don't build relationships. And they start going, guys, listen, I'm not going to work with your company if you keep sending new reps in here every year. So those are some of the reasons why they don't like that.
I got one more for we got time for that, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Kevin McCauley, what's the best move if they ask a question and your mind goes completely blank?
What's the best move if they ask a question and your mind goes completely blank? Do what I just did and ask them to repeat the question. Honestly.
Typical. That's a Joe move. He does it all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I read it at second grade level, so you got to listen to me read the question again.
No, but I mean, again, guys, I don't pay attention to James a lot, so I zone out when he's talking. So sometimes he asks me a question and I didn't fully hear him, or I zoned out. I was thinking about something else. Ask them to repeat the question, and just that's okay. Go, excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again? And it's okay to think about something for a second. Go, that's a great question. And then think about it for a few seconds and then answer. Okay, that's better than just blurting out shit just to get an answer out quickly. No, it's okay to think. That's fine, guys. They're not going to grade you on if you answered the question in 3 milliseconds versus, giving it 4 or 5 seconds to really register. So ask it again, ask them to repeat the question, say, give me a second. I'd like to think about that. That's a great question. And then guys, at that point, you got to give an answer. If you don't have an answer, no, I'm sorry. I don't even know how to give an answer to that. Then, again, call us at the academy. We can help you with this because we're going to go over a lot of interview preparation that you're going to feel so comfortable answering any question. Again, I talked about this on previous podcasts. Where, whether you're a Deion Sanders fan or not, I always loved his approach with practice. He always said we're going to practice so hard that it's going to feel like a game. So then when you get into the game, it feels like practice. And it's so true, guys. So we're going to teach you that. We're going to make you ready for any questions. You're going to be so prepared that there's nothing they could throw at you they're not ready for.
Love it, Joe. I'm a big fan of the saying. I hate the saying, I should say. I hate to say practice makes perfect because it's perfect practice makes perfect.
But you're right, though. It's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing comes easy. Guys, you don't win. The bottom line, to sum up, and that's a great point, James, you don't win in this interview process by winging it. You don't win even if you have 25 years experience. You're the best. You have 12 President's Club wins. Guys, if you're not practicing, especially a lot of reps out there that have been in their current role for years, you get rusty. So when you get into these interviews, you're a dumpster fire. And believe me, they see it. And they don't care about your background anymore. They're going, wow, this guy's washed up. So you have to practice. Even with the academy, we're going to train you. You still got to go home and practice. You don't work out with your trainer once a week and then not do anything. You don't eat right and you don't run, you don't work out and think you're going to still lose weight or look good. No, you got to keep up the energy. You got to keep up the repetition if you want to see results. It's the same thing here. But again, guys, a lot of great questions today. James, thank you. Thank you guys all for the great questions. If any of you, again, I know I plugged in the academy multiple times. It's not even just for the cheap plugs, guys. Of course, I want you to join, but I want you to realize that we are here because we bring results. We're going to get you to your goals. All we ask is that you put the effort in, you follow the process, and you're going to get there. So if you're struggling, if any of the things that I said on this podcast resonate with you, reach out to me. Click the link below, go to reppath.com or set up a call, shoot me a DM, and I'll get a call set up so you can learn more. Lastly, for any of you lobby members, make sure you give the promo code Licata right there on the screen. Submit that when you reach out to me so you can get additional discounts. Other than that, guys, this is our last call for the week. We'll be here every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If not, have a great week, great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.